Welcome to this week's episode. Today we're going to look at one of my favorite topics, which is the importance of having a financial action plan in place and the 10 steps that will help you build a better financial future. We are living in very uncertain times, so we can help to focus on the things that you can control and the things, or rather than the things that you can't. And working out what your money is doing for you now and where it might come from in the future can give you real peace of mind. As another year rapidly draws to a close, many of us may already be starting to think about what resolutions we may make to improve our financial health in 2021. And even though we may resolve to improve our finances, as we often do, it's knowing where to begin that's the key. So I'm going to help you with giving a 10-point plan to be able to do this effectively. The first step to getting your finances on track is to know where your money is going, but that isn't always obvious. Tracking your expenses can keep you spending on a level track with your income and help you avoiding overspending, especially at this time of year. And this goes hand in hand when setting up a budget. You may have a good handle on your monthly bills, but what about your daily expenses? You may be surprised by how much money you spend on small items. Reviewing all of your expenses for ways to cut back and then decide on what to do with that extra money is a great start. So set specific goals, such as building an emergency cash fund, because you never know when that money is going to be needed for those events that you've not catered for, or pay off your credit card bills, or increase your retirement savings. Number 2, reduce your borrowing. Next, make a list of all your borrowings, including mortgage, your personal loans, your store cards, credit cards, and bank overdrafts. Calculate the amount that you owe, and remember that you should update this as the year goes by to track your progress. And if you can't reduce your overall borrowings, then you need to ensure that you are paying as low interest as possible. And this often means switching credit cards or mortgages, or even consolidating various borrowings into one lower rate and monthly payment amount. Number 3, tax really matters. There are plenty of tax allowances to make use of each financial year. And remember that runs from 6th of April to the 5th of April the following year. So it's worth being aware of which allowances you can benefit from. All tax rates quoted in this podcast are applicable to the current tax year 2021. And one of the most popular ways to save is by fully utilising your ISA allowance, which is currently £20,000 a year. You may save or invest your ISA allowance in one or more different ISAs, or you can put up to £4,000 into a lifetime ISA, but you must be age 18 or over, but under the age of 40 to open a lifetime ISA. You won't pay any income tax or dividend tax or capital gains tax on any proceeds of your investments that you hold in any ISA. In addition, investors have a £2,000 tax-free dividend allowance held outside of an ISA. And for basic rate taxpayers, that means you pay 7.5% on dividends, and for higher rate taxpayer, you pay 32.5% on dividends. If you are a basic rate taxpayer, then you also have a personal savings allowance, and that allows you to earn up to £1,000 on your savings without paying any income tax on it. And that reduces to £500 if you're a higher rate taxpayer. And if you have investments held outside of a pension or ISA, then these usually are subject to capital gains when they are sold or given to someone other than your spouse. The gain is usually calculated as the sale proceeds less purchase costs from the assets and is taxed at your marginal rates. Everyone has an annual tax-free capital gains allowance, and that's currently £12,300. And this is whereby gains of up to this amount can be realised tax-free. So if you have an asset which is held jointly with a spouse, then you can both use your annual exemption allowances against the gain, effectively doubling the tax-free annual allowance. However, remember that tax laws can change in the future, and their effects depend on your particular circumstances, which will also change over time. Point 4, Good investment habits. Investing money on a regular basis instead of as a one-off lump sum can reduce the impact of a market downturn on your portfolio. So if you were looking for a smoother ride during market volatility, then pound cost averaging can be a great way to save. And this is where money is drip fed into the markets over time and may be an appropriate option. Steady, regular investments can provide you with some protection in case of sudden market corrections. Given that we don't know what the markets will do from day to day or month to month, this stops you from investing all of your money at a peak and maximizing losses when they fall. So some of your money will be invested when markets are down. So when they recover and the prices increase, you are rewarded accordingly. And over the long term, investing monthly averages out the highs and the lows. Number 5, pension savings boosts. It's important to think about how much money you might need in the future and whether you will have enough to give you the lifestyle that you want. Making the right choices now can make a big difference on how much money you have in the future. So saving into a pension plan could help you achieve the lifestyle that you want. And even if you feel that your savings are on track to live comfortably in retirement, you can still top up your pension plan to help you boost your savings and increase your potential wealth in retirement. Because who knows, events happen, circumstances change, and you may not always be able to save towards retirement, or it could be that your health deteriorates, or it could be that you have surplus what you need and you can pass that on to your children, onto your family. And one of the great things about saving into pensions is that you get tax relief on the amounts that you save. This means that if you're a basic rate taxpayer, for every £100 saved into your pension, that will just cost you £80. This could effectively be even less if you're a higher or additional rate taxpayer. Tax rules may alter in the future and their effect depends on your personal circumstances, which can also change. So bear in mind too that you can't ordinarily draw benefits from a pension arrangement until you're at least age 55, which is increasing to 57 by the year 2028. So pensions are a long-term investment. Number 6, focus on your goals. Did you start 2020 with plans to save and invest more money and reduce borrowings, but lost your way? Many did, and that's perfectly normal. So refocusing on your finances and recommitting to financial goals can seem challenging, especially during the year that we've had with the pandemic, but it's not a lost cause. Focus on making small, short, achievable financial goals. By setting smaller goals and achieving them one at a time, you are more likely to stay motivated and reach them. Remember, yesterday is done and gone, and you cannot change it. Whether you've made good choices or whether you made bad choices yesterday, but you can change what happens today. So being clear on your financial goals is essential to making the most of your money. Making decisions with a clear endpoint in mind can make it easier to achieve financial security and independence and allow you to enjoy the life that you want. Number 7, stick to your plan. As governments around the world take further action to stem the spread of coronavirus, stock markets continue to react with increased volatility. And during any period of volatility, thinking about your reasons for investing and what you ultimately plan to do with the money is so important. But market volatility is unavoidable and is very much part of market behavior. Markets move through stages of growth, slowing down and speeding up. And unfortunately, the timing of those cycles can be so unpredictable. Selling out of fear can be the worst thing to do. Large falls can often be followed by large rises, leading to the risk of losing on both sides. So selling when prices are depressed and not buying in until they have moved higher is not a great idea. Avoiding the daily monitoring of investments during falling markets, as this So it's a good idea to avoid the daily monitoring of investments during falling markets, as this can result in an over-emotional reaction and lead to making irrational decisions, leading to the risk of losing on both sides. That is, selling when prices are depressed and not buying in until they have moved higher. Number 8, smoothing out returns. When it comes to investing, you need to take some risk in order to generate a return. One of the best ways to control that risk is through something called diversification. That is, don't put all of your eggs in one basket is a common expression. This means that ensuring that you spread your capital amongst different investments so that you're not reliant upon a single investment for all of your returns. Different types of investments perform in different ways over time. So when some rise in value, others are not changing or often decreasing. So diversification helps you to smooth out those returns. The key benefit of diversification is to help minimize the risk of capital loss to your portfolio and also helps to reduce volatility. Number 9, discuss your concerns. When faced with certain choices and in the midst of volatile periods, some people may understandably fall prey to their stock market emotions and make decisions that are not in their best long-term financial interests. But that's fine, and it's natural to be worried. Even experienced investors steeped in the market's historical cycles may feel torn between their emotions and their knowledge. That's why having a professional financial advisor in the background who can advise you before making any of these major decisions is key. This will enable you to discuss your concerns. So one of the major advantages of having a financial advisor on board is to discuss your concerns to help keep those market emotions in check and to work together to ensure your long-term strategy remains on track. Financial advisors are not just about the numbers, they're also about being your coach and a sounding board to help you when these events happen. Number 10, reinvest dividends. Dividends are payments of some of the profits made by a company to its shareholders. They are not guaranteed and at the discretion of the company. But when they are paid, you have the option to reinvest them into more of that company's shares. And reinvesting dividends provides benefits that shouldn't be ignored. And in a current era of low interest rates, investors need to use every tool they can to make the most of their money. Reinvesting dividends can add significant wealth over normal investment returns and is one of the most powerful tools available for boosting returns over time. So those seemingly small amounts reinvested can grow into much larger amounts when used to buy even more shares of a stock that can pay further dividends in turn. And this has an effect of compounding, which is one of the most powerful measures you have in investing. So bringing your financial plans to life. Planning for a successful financial future means different things to different people. Whatever your plans, having an expert, professional financial advisor on board to help you will bring them to life. As the impact of the coronavirus is felt across the UK and the world, you may have concerns about how it's going to affect you and your money. So having a financial advisor on board is so important throughout your investment journey. That's it for this week's episode. Join me next week to look at pensions on divorce. It's a sad fact that divorce rate goes up massively after the Christmas period. So I'll be looking at some insights on how divorce affects your pensions. And as always, don't forget to drop me a message for any topics that you want covered next.